to learn that we are coming to the third day for the 3-day faculty development program on outcome-based education, OBE, in higher education sector. This program is jointly organized by Baselios Institute of Technology and Science, MBITS, Kothamangalam, Kerala, along with Amal Jyothi College of Engineering, Kanjirappally, AJC. Department of MCA from Amal Jyothi Engineering College, as well as Electrical Department and COVID-19 cell of Baselios Institute of Technology is organizing this program. And today we are very fortunate to have our patron, Professor Ramana Rao sir from NIT Warangal, the director, joined already with us. And also we have the chief guest, Dr. Jacob Philip sir, the former director of STIC, CUSAT, and also he is from Amal Jyothi Engineering College. And also we know that our distinguished alumni of Warangal as well as IIM Ahmedabad, Dr. V. Barla sir is also will be us as a panel member. And we have a keynote speaker, Father Rubin Thottupuram. He is a director of Academic Enterprise Solutions. So good morning to all the panel members, distinguished guests, our patron, most respected Ramana Rao sir, and our team members from electrical departments, MBITS Engineering College, Amal Jyothi Engineering College, MCA department, and directors, professors, deans, principals from various parts of India and abroad. We are very fortunate to start our program. Over to Thomas for starting the proceedings.
Thank you very much, Sojan sir. The chief guest of our today's day is Dr. Jacob Philip. Sir has completed his graduation and post-graduation in physics from University of Kerala. He did his PhD in physics from University of Kerala. He started his career as a faculty in University of Tennessee, USA, and later he worked with IISc Bangalore, Cochin University. He has also worked with several foreign universities such as Fraunhofer Institute for Physical Measurement Techniques, Freiburg, University of Heidelberg, Germany. He served as the director in Sophisticated Test and Instrumentation Center from 2004 to 2014. Dr. Jacob Philip has published many books and a large number of research papers in physics. He is a resource person in many training programs and an invited speaker for more than 100 seminars, conferences, and workshops. He is honored with many awards and also a member or fellow of many prestigious professional societies such as Instrument Society of India, Indian Physics Association. Also, he is a member of many expert committees, which include SAT Committee, Engineering and Technology Committee, NAC Peer Team, PhD Thesis Adjudication Committee of about 12 universities, and many more. He is presently the Dean Academics Administration of Amal Jyothi College of Engineering, Kanjirappally. We welcome you, sir, and over to you.
And may I interrupt you, sir? May I take the privilege of introducing our most respectable, the director, Dr. Ramana Rao, sir, who has been working with NIT since 2017. Dr. Ramana Rao, sir, did his BA in Civil Engineering from Usmania and MTech from IIT Delhi. He has been awarded the 1989 Commonwealth Scholarship to pursue PhD in Structural Engineering and 1998 Commonwealth Fellowship to pursue postdoctoral research in Civil and Structural Engineering at the University of Wales, United Kingdom. He has edited 3 books and published 137 papers in national and international journals and conferences. He has guided more than 50 MTech and 8 PhDs, and many PhD students are progressing with his eminent guidance. Dr. Ramana Rao sir is an eminent academician who has been recognized by different awards and has been an expert committee member constituted by UGC for grant of autonomous status to various technical institutions, a member of the committee to frame affiliation guidance for engineering colleges by the government of Telangana and AICT inspection committees. And we have signed an MOU last year with MBITS as well as for NIT Warangal. Professor Ramana Rao sir representing NIT Warangal and myself as Dr. Sojan Lal representing MBITS. That's a great occasion for us for the collaboration. And may I request Professor Ramana Rao sir to say a few words before the program starts. With your blessings, we'll continue with J.K. Philip sir. Over to Ramana Rao, sir, for further messages from as a patron of this program, sir.
Thank you very much. A very good morning to all the distinguished dignitaries. The chief guest, Dr. Jacob Philip, Dr. Sojan Lal, Prof. Thomas, and the keynote speaker, Father Rubin Thottupuram, and Dr. Barla, a distinguished alumni of NIT Warangal. I'm very happy that the MBITS, along with the AJC, is organizing this FDP and OBE, in higher education. This is something very relevant to the present needs. Most of you are aware that outcome-based education is an education theory that bases each part of an education system around goals, outcomes. So students should have achieved the goal, the outcome of the study. So there is no single specified, a lot of flexibility is there. In fact, there is no single specified study or assessment in OBE. Instead, classes, assessment should help students to achieve the specified outcome. And also the role of the faculty changes in terms of the just a teacher, he becomes a trainer, a facilitator, or a mentor based on the type of outcomes. In fact, outcome-based methods have been adopted in several countries around the world, especially after the Washington Accord, which was created in 1989. It is an agreement undergraduate engineering degrees that were obtained using outcome-based education methods. So today, the Washington Accord, most of you are aware, the signatories are Australia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, India, Ireland, and so several countries. So this gives a uniform platform for recognition of degrees, and also it helps students to have a lot of mobility. So this outcome-based education can primarily be distinguished from the traditional education system to which we were earlier used by the way it is three elements. First is the theory of education, and then a structured education, and thirdly, and most importantly, a specific approach to the instructional practice. So it organizes the entire educational system to what are considered essential for the learners to successfully do the end of the learning experience. So this is how our students have more employability. In fact, it will also help the students to gain skills uh, by by actually putting our curriculums and outcomes so that they get life skills, basic skills, professional and vocational skills, and also intellectual skills, and interpersonal and personal skills. So it depends on which region you belong or what are your needs. So that has actually led to a lot of developments and improvement in the system. There are a lot of benefits accrued out of outcome based like clarity. So the clarity is the focus on the outcome, the clear expectation. You know, the student knows expected of him at the end of the course. So clarity is there. There is a flexibility, which is very, very important, especially in view of the online education. So with a clear sense of what to be accomplished, the teacher will be able to structure their lessons around the students' needs. So it will be more of a learner-centric thing rather than student-centric. Then this outcome-based education will allow us to compare between different institutes, between different countries. That is how it's a great boon. Also, the involvement of the student in the classroom is more in the outcome-based education. Of course, there are drawbacks also, similar to like there are some assessment problems, there is no uniformity in there. It's too general, having clear-cut idea of how to move forward. I hope this help to create awareness among the faculty members, how they should plan their lessons, how they should see that students will get a better outcome because of this. And we know that India, as a country, has become a permanent signatory of the Washington Accord in 13 June 2014. In fact, I had an also get trained in this what you call using the record to the NBA. And the National Board of Accreditation is the agency which is actually handling the accreditation of diploma and undergraduate programs, and is a body for promoting international quality standards for technical education in India, and has started accrediting only the programs running with OBE. So it has made it mandatory that only we have outcome-based education programs, then only you can accredit it. In fact, the NBA, the National Board of Accreditation, mandates establishing a culture of outcomes-based education in higher education. And in fact, so find these outcomes analysis requires huge amount of data to be churned and made at any time. So therefore, one of the important requirement for this outcome is you should have good housekeeping, good collection of data, have an automated and real data analysis. This is only possible if you can use the softwares. Currently, a lot of institute management information are there, which will help you to actually collect all information in a systematic and orderly way, and then you try to assess. So I'm happy that I've been invited to give my remarks on this event, and because of my, I would request the distinguished guests to permit me to leave the meeting, as exactly at 11:30 I have the meeting. So thank you very much, and thank you all for your kind attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ramana Rao, sir. In spite of your busy schedule, even changing little bit of your schedule, you joined us, and also within the shortest time, you have given the overview, the importance, the culture of higher education through the OBE. So, and the challenges also you touched upon in a slightly way. And the data storage and the retrieval as the most important things will everyone through some of the LMS management system. We look into that. And once again, as being the patron of this program, once again on behalf of everyone over here, Amal, Jyothi Engineering College, MBITS Engineering College, and all the participants, thank you very much, sir, for being over here. And also very big welcome to our Dr. B.S. Madhugar, sir, the founder director, University of Mumbai, and Quality Assurance Cell to this program also. Once again, thank you all. Over to J.K. Phillips, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. At the outset, I would like to thank MBITS and Amal Jyothi College of Engineering for giving me a chance to address all these participants. I am asked to give an overview of outcome-based education, and I have been involved in this evaluation and activity, or development of evaluation activity at Amal Jyothi for quite some time now. I will give an overview. I will give you an overview of this outcome-based education, which is a new education framework that got developed during the past, say, 20-25 years. Now, the outcome-based education basically helps you to quantify the outcome of the professional education that we impart in our colleges. So our job is to generate professionals, not just graduates. We must have a method or a technique to quantify the qualities and competence of our students. And based on that quantification and evaluation, we make an assessment, and based on that, we see whether they are meeting that requirement. Now, in outcome-based education, we always set a target. Or we have to have a vision, and we have to set a target for our education activity, or for the programs that we offer. And we have to have a method to check whether we are meeting the target. And in case we are not meeting the target, we make modifications in our curricula and try to reach the target. And once we reach the target, then we continue, and then we set a higher target, and in that way we try to make continuous quality improvement. This continuous quality improvement is the basic motto of outcome-based education. Now, outcome-based education means starting with a clear picture of what is important for students to be able to do. And then organizing the curriculum, instruction, and method of assessment to make sure that this learning ultimately happens. Now, there are four principles of outcome-based education. These are the quality of focus, that is on what we expect what is our expectation about our students, or what is our expectation about our graduates, or what we would like them to become after several years of graduation. And it provides expanded opportunity, okay, to have success at a very high level, and high expectations, and there is a design down. There is a design down approach is followed in OBE, that is from clearly established outcomes, then we design it down. And when we design our course, we evaluate them at the microscopic levels. So basically, it's a design down approach. The keys to outcome-based system are develop a set of learning outcomes around which all of the system's components can be focused. So we have to have a very clear set of learning outcomes and establish the conditions and opportunities within the system which enables and encourages all students to achieve those essential outcomes. Now, the basic difference between traditional education and outcome-based education is that in traditional education, we teach something to the students, and we give an examination, and they pass the examination, and based on their marks, we give them the degree. But here in outcome-based education, we really set a target, or we really set a goal, and evaluate how capable or how far our students are able to do something. Particularly in professional education, what they are able to do after graduation, and based on that, we evaluate them. And what exactly are the outcomes? Learning outcomes are what the learners can actually do with what they know and what they have learned. And outcomes are actions and performances that embody and reflect learner competence in using content, information, ideas, and tools successfully. So, how far they are able to learn the technique that they have studied, and how they are able to perform in their professional career based on the education they receive. So outcomes are basically what kind of actions the student performs, and what kind of performance we can expect from what kind of performance he has after the completion of the program. So these outcomes are not values, beliefs, attitudes, or psychological state of mind. So basically, these are actions and performances. So the basic attributes of outcome are: it provides a clear picture of student behavior that results from learning. So basically, we ensure that a transformation takes place in the student so that he becomes a productive and useful person for the society. And it involves long-term learning, acknowledges different learning styles and forms of intelligence, and is understandable to students and community, is appropriate from development point of view. It addresses higher order thinking skills, and is accessible directly or indirectly. These are the attributes of the outcome of an educational system. Now, the OBE pyramid is built upon these 5 factors. We define the outcomes, okay? We define the outcomes or we set a goal. And then based on that, we design our curriculum. Based on that, we deliver we deliver instruction. And then after the instruction, of course, we assess them, and we document the results. Not only the results of the examination, but also the transformation that has taken place in that student. And then we determine the advancement. So documentation of results, and then determining the advancement. We want to do a quantitative evaluation. Okay, we have to do a quantitative evaluation, and then see whether the outcomes have actually been achieved. Now, the very purpose of OBE is that we have to ensure that all students are equipped with knowledge, competence, and qualities needed to be successful after they exit the education system. So basically, the OBE focuses on knowledge, competence, and qualities. The students should have clear knowledge about what they have studied. Based on that, they should have developed some competence to do something, and they should have all these qualities required to be successful in their professional career. And structure and operate. So once we are clear about the purpose of OBE, we have to structure and operate our institutions so that the outcomes can be achieved and maximized for all students. So we have to have the appropriate or necessary infrastructure provided to the students in terms of faculty, competent faculty, laboratory facilities, library facilities, and rest of it to ensure that the defined outcomes are actually achieved. Now, in the OBE framework, we assume that all students can learn and all students can be successful, but there can be variations because we have a heterogeneous group of students in a college. So, but all students have the basic ability to learn and succeed, but at different levels. And successful learning promotes even more successful learning. Once we set a target, and if the students are able to reach that target, and then we can set a higher target and go to that higher level, and still further level, and so on. In that way, we can ensure continuous quality improvement. And the institutions control the conditions that directly affect successful learning. So the institution has to provide the necessary conditions and environment so that the students can do, or the students are successful in their learning and education. So OBE is an educational process that focuses on what students can do or the qualities they develop after they are taught. Okay, so what is important is that what they are able to do and what are the qualities that we have built into them. And OBE involves restructuring of curriculum, assessment and reporting practices in education to reflect achievement of higher order learning. So OBE involves restructuring of the curriculum and assessment method so that higher order learning levels are achieved. Both structure and curricula are designed to achieve these capabilities and qualities. And OBE discourages traditional education approach based on direct instruction of facts and standard methods of assessment. And it requires students to demonstrate what they have learned. The students should be able to demonstrate that they have learned, or they should be able to practice what they have learned. So OBE is not just write outcomes and around existing curricula. No, we have to design the curriculum based on the goals that we have set. And the outcome performances, they tie the outcome performances directly to the calendar. It is not just OBE. Now equate time-based performance testing system to learning outcomes. Confuse step-by-step instructional objectives with accumulating outcomes, and refer anything that has anything to do with the learning outcomes as outcome-based. No, OBE has a very clear mandate. That is, you set very clear goals and make conscious efforts to reach that outcome. Now, not only the subject or technical knowledge of the student is important. The student should have many other qualities that we should develop during their educational career. For example, the examination result is not the most important consideration for an employer. An employer wants the engineer to be good in communication. He should have capability for critical thinking. He should have integrity and honesty, ethics, resilience or adaptiveness. He should have computer skills. Whatever be the area or whatever be the area of specialization of a candidate, he should have computer skills, detail-oriented, he should have self-confidence, then he should have creativity, he should be able to collaborate with others, interpersonal skills are important, motivation of the candidate is important, he should have analytical skills, organizational skills, leadership skills, entrepreneurial skills, behavior and politeness. All these qualities are equally important for a successful professional. This is in addition to the technical knowledge of the candidate. Now, well, I think I will skip some of these slides. The focus and benefits of OBE are that OBE addresses the following key questions. What do we want the students to have or be able to do? And how can we best help students to achieve it? And how will we know whether the student has achieved it? And how do we close the loop for further improvement? That is continuous quality improvement. So OBE addresses these key questions. Okay. We should build capability so that the students are able to practice the knowledge that they have gained. And we should provide all necessary help for them to achieve it. And we have to test whether they have achieved it. And if they haven't, then we have to make improvements in our system. And that is a continuous process. And the advantages or benefits of OBE are, it is more direct and coherent curriculum. Graduates will be more relevant to industry and other stakeholders, and continuous quality improvement is in place. And now, when we design or when we go for OBE, outcome-based education, we have to design the curriculum appropriately. We have to deliver or we have to do teaching and learning appropriately, and we have to do the assessment appropriately, or what the student should be able to do and what are the attributes, and how to make the students achieve the outcome, and how to measure what the students have achieved. All these aspects are built into the outcome-based education system. Now, and coming specifically to engineering education, it is not what we teach. What is important is what do they learn. In a nutshell, OBE is learner-centric approach to tertiary education. And globalization of world economy and higher education, are driving profound changes in education, particularly in engineering education. And this OBE approach has already been adopted worldwide. And you are more familiar with the, or you are all aware of the Washington Accord and the countries who have signed the Washington Accord and so on. So engineering education is driven by what is taught, how it is taught, and how they are assessed. Okay? So what is taught includes the content or our curriculum. How it is taught is how we deliver the knowledge, that is the pedagogy, and how they are assessed, that is our student learning. And assessment drives learning, and what and how students learn depend upon how they think they will be assessed. If there is no assessment, definitely our students will not learn anything. So assessment is an integral part of the scheme. Now, the quality parameters of OBE or the different outcomes need to be defined, articulated, framed as measurable statements. Now, in outcome-based education, we always try to quantify what do we do, what do we deliver, and how do we assess them. So, and what are the objectives of engineering students? They should have a successful career, or they should be competent engineers. They should become a professional, to become entrepreneurs, to become executives, to become researchers, and to work in public sector or multinational companies, to work in a foreign country, etc. Okay? And all these quality parameters should be properly supported in our engineering education. Now, so the outcome-based education, it is adopted worldwide for professional education following the Washington Accord. The National Board of Accreditation of India under the All India Council for Technical Education is entrusted with the responsibility of accrediting professional education institutions in India. And this assessment is now based on, or this NBA accreditation is now based on the outcome-based framework. Outcome-based education framework. NBA as well as the ABET specifies the goals of a program. How do we try to specify the goals of a program, or how do we quantify our educational pattern or engineering education? And this quantification is done through the vision of the institution, the mission of the institution, the PEOs, that is the program education objectives, the program specific outcomes, and the program outcomes. For each program, so for example, BTech in electrical engineering, for that particular program, we have to define a vision, we have to define a vision, we have to define a set of program educational objectives, a set of program specific outcomes, and a set of program outcomes. Now, OBE follows a design down approach. It moves from program outcomes to course outcomes, because we are delivering a course in a classroom, and first we have to define the course outcomes, and we have to map between course outcomes and program outcomes, and from program outcomes we go to program specific outcomes as well as to program educational objectives. From there we go to the mission of the institution, and then to the vision of the institution. So we follow a design down approach. So all the way from course outcomes to the vision of the institution, we make evaluation. And quantification and evaluation of PEOs, PSOs, POs, and COs. Okay, so this we had to evaluate PEOs, PSOs, POs, and COs. These are central to the implementation of the OBE framework. Now, I will not spend too much time on these things because you are all familiar with the vision, mission statements and the implications of these statements, etc. So for example, a vision statement is a long-term vision of a program. A long-term, say 25 years envisioned accomplishment. What our program should be after say 25 years from now. So we have to have a long-term vision for every program. So for example, and it should be a very general statement. Accomplish global recognition in training graduate engineers by generating highly competent and committed technical personnel who would excel in their profession and career. So this is a very general statement. So we state that we will generate world-class engineers through this program. Okay, that's a very clear vision statement. And then what we will do to accomplish this vision. So basically, vision is a process in mind to accomplish vision over shorter periods, say in 5 years' time. So what are the actions? What are the actions that we will take to reach our vision? That should be contained in our vision statement. And then we define a set of program educational objectives. Program educational objectives is a broad statement that describe the career and professional accomplishments that a program preparing the graduates to achieve. And basically these are short-term goals, 4 to 5 years after graduation. What should our graduate be after say 5 years of graduation? And when we design our PEOs, these PEOs should be consistent with the mission of the mission and vision of the department as well as the institution. And the number of PEOs should be manageable. They should be achievable by the program, and they should be specific to the program and should be based on needs of the constituencies. So when we design our PEOs, all these should be borne in mind. Now, the objectives of a program can be broadly defined on 5 counts. How do we prepare the program? Program means the whole curriculum and things like that. What kind of competence we will develop in our students? The breadth of the program, the professionalism that we are trying to build into that, and what is the learning environment we provide. All these things should be, all these counts should be built into our program educational objectives. And the program educational objectives shall be guided by the global and local needs, vision of the institution, and long-term goals. So we should design our program educational objectives with clarity, and one has to apply one's mind to design these objectives. So I have written. Typically, you can split the program education objectives into 3 or 4 counts. Okay. So here I have written the program education objectives for a UG program in engineering, and so there are 4 points. There are 4 points I have written, and all these 4 points you should be able to map. You should be able to map with the mission statements. The mission statements, because we have written the mission again in 4 counts, and what is the relation between each PEO and each mission? That should be clearly spelled out. So if there is a strong correlation between a PEO statement and a mission statement, you put 3 there. So using this kind of a table, we should be able to make of what is the correlation or what is the relationship between our mission as well as vision and our program educational objectives. So as far as possible, there should be very good correlation between PEO statements and the vision statements. And we also have to specify a certain number of program specific outcomes. If it is for electrical engineering, it should be specific to electrical engineering, whereas program education objectives are more general. Okay? More general, but these are specific to a particular program or a particular branch. And the programs shall specify typically 2 to 4 specific outcomes that pertain to the program. And we should be able to evaluate or make an evaluation of our program specific outcomes. Now, these PSOs for a UG engineering program, I have written these 3 points here. Okay, and these are for example, this is specific to mechanical engineering. Okay, mechanical engineering, mechanical and allied areas, and so these 3 points I have written are specific to mechanical engineering. Now, program outcomes, it describes what students are expected to know and able to do by the time of graduation. So basically the program outcomes relate to the knowledge, the engineering knowledge of the candidates, the professional skills of the candidates, and the behavior of the candidates. So not only that, we should develop knowledge, skills, we should develop the good behavior of our students as they complete their program. Now, POs, that is program outcomes, should be program specific, and they describe knowledge, skills, and behavior, and they should align with attributes of engineering graduates as defined by NBA. And so basically NBA has defined 12 graduate attributes to engineering graduates, and these 12 POs or these 12 graduate attributes actually defines the quality of an engineer. And the POs that we define should be, the POs are basically a redefinition of these graduate attributes. And these program outcomes are not specific to any particular branch. These program outcomes are common to all engineering branches. And what are the program outcomes? We define 12 program outcomes, and these are engineering knowledge, okay, that is applied knowledge of mathematics, science, engineering fundamentals, and an engineering specialization for the solution of complex engineering problems. That is engineering knowledge. Then problem analysis, you should be able to identify, formulate, research literature, and analyze complex engineering problems. And then he should be able to design and develop solutions. Our students should be able to conduct investigations of complex problems. He should be competent in using modern tools like IT tools and all kinds of tools that are required to excel as an engineer. And he should have a concern for the society, apply reasoning informed by the contextual knowledge to assess societal, health, safety, and legal and cultural issues and the consequent responsibilities. So he should have a concern for the society. He should have a concern for the environment and sustainability, and he should be able to apply ethical principles to his profession. Okay, and he should be able to carry out individual and teamwork. He should have good communication abilities. He should be able to manage a project, and he should be able to manage finance, and he should be a lifelong learner. Recognize the need for and have the preparation and ability to engage in independent and lifelong learning in the broadest context of technological change. So if you carefully analyze these 12 graduate attributes or these 12 POs, we can see that the first 5 alone are technical outcomes. The first 5 alone are technical outcomes, and the rest 7 are professional outcomes. Okay, and our written examinations generally measure technical outcomes only, and assessment strategies are to be developed to measure professional outcomes. So we have to have a clear scheme to assess the professional outcomes of a graduate. And what the students have gained or learned from that course. Okay? And we should be able to analyze it clearly. And upon completion of the course, the students should be able to understand, evaluate, analyze, design, and apply. So, I mean, our program. So, for example, BTech in Electrical Engineering is a program, and to complete that program, the students have to take about say 45 to 50 courses, and in each of that course, we should define a clear number of course outcomes, typically 5 or 6, and to evaluate those course outcomes. We should actually evaluate whether how far the student has understood the subject, how he is evaluate something, how he is able to analyze something, how he is able to design something, and how he is able to apply his knowledge. All these things should be evaluated to evaluate his course outcome, or to evaluate the course outcomes, all the 6 course outcomes of that particular course. So, when we talk about an engineering program, the PEOs and POs are major outcomes, and the course outcomes are micro level outcomes. And every course of study over a semester has 4 to 6 outcomes called course outcomes, and each CO refer to specific attainable and measurable qualities. And each CO contributes to the attainment of 1 or more POs. Okay? Evaluation of a CO or a particular CO may contribute to more than 1 PO. And each PO is to be attained by the attainment of a set of COs through different courses. And for a 4-year BTech program, there are 45 to 50 courses, and each course has 5 to 6 course outcomes. So by the time a student completes his BTech program, we had about 250 to 300 course outcomes, and to assure the attainment of POs, COs should be carefully written, delivered, assessed, and evaluated. And the level of knowledge, problem solving skills, engineering activities, and soft skills should be fixed for each CO. Now, so how do we, or when do we assess these outcomes? We assess the course outcomes upon completion of the course. For example, he is taking a course on, a particular student is taking a course on analog circuits. When he completes that course, we have to evaluate the course outcome, and we should evaluate the program outcomes when he completes, when he graduates, and we should evaluate the program educational objectives a few years after graduation, say 4 to 5 years after graduation. And we have to design very specific schemes for the evaluation of these course outcomes, program outcomes, as well as program educational objectives. And when an institution is going, or when a program is applying for NBA accreditation, they should submit a self-assessment report, and that self-assessment report should include evaluation of course outcomes, that is evaluation of course outcomes of all semesters, and the number of outcomes for a course shall be around 6, typically 5 or 6. So each of the course outcome is a clear statement. It's a clear statement, and so and we have to prepare a table of course outcomes in this fashion. So for example, sample COs. The course is, suppose the course is Introduction to Sustainable Engineering. So upon completion of the course, the student shall be able to explain the role of engineering in sustainable development and environmental protection, and describe the global environmental issues, apply simple techniques, simple, efficient and indigenous solutions to overcome threats to sustainability, identify and apply, demonstrate the relevance. So all these course outcomes are action oriented. They are measurable. Okay. So how far he is able to explain the role of engineering. Okay. So we should ask him to explain, and based on that explanation, we should be able to assess him. So all these course outcomes are basically quantifiable, can be evaluated quantitatively based on the performance of the students. Now, you see that all the POs are very general statements. Okay, he should have sufficient technical knowledge. So that's a very general statement of a PO. But our COs are specific to that particular subject. So POs represent fairly high-level generic goals that are not directly measurable. So, but connecting high-level POs with course content, that is course outcomes, and assessment can be achieved through a two-step process of identifying competencies and performance indicators. For example, when we define a course outcome, after the completion of the course outcome, what kind of competencies have been developed in that student? And if he has developed certain competencies, how these competencies are reflected in his performance. Okay? So we can clearly define a corresponding set of performance indicators. So if there is a course outcome, there are certain number of competencies that the student develops, and each of these competencies can be indicated by a set of performance indicators. So we have to take a channel from course outcomes to competencies to performance indicators, and from there to our program outcomes. So in that way, we should be able to establish a connection between course outcomes and program outcomes. So we take this path through competencies and performance indicators. So basically, instead of jumping from COs to POs directly, we go through competencies, performance indicators, and program outcomes. And now we have to identify competencies corresponding to each CO. I will not go into the details of each of the competencies that I have listed, because it is quite elaborate. And if you go to the NBA handbook, you'll be able to see this in the NBA handbook. You can download it from the NBA website. So you go from course outcomes to competencies to performance indicators, and from there you go to the program outcomes. So I have cited some examples. I have cited the performance indicators that you can do, that you can define for, the competencies that you can develop for certain course outcomes, that is competencies, from there to performance indicators, and from there to performance indicators, and from there to POs. So basically, if you have a program outcome number 1 here, okay, you connect that to 3 competencies, and each of these competencies are connected to, say, 3. There can be 3 or 2 or 4 performance indicators. So you go from program outcome to competencies to performance indicators, and then to the assessment. So this connection between program outcomes and CIE stands for continuous internal examination and semester external examination. Okay, the examination questions through which we evaluate the course outcomes should have a connection to program outcomes through competencies, through performance indicators, competencies and competencies. Okay. So program outcomes to competencies to performance indicators to the assessment method, and that is the connection. And to establish this connection for each program outcome and for each CO, you have to have a pretty long table, because you have about 300 course outcomes, and each course outcome may have 2 or 3 performance indicators, and for example, this particular CO, this particular PO has got 3 competencies and 3 plus 3, 6 plus 2, 8 performance indicators, and you have a set of 6 course outcomes. This connection you have to establish between all 12 program outcomes and all the, say, 300 or so course outcomes. So this is the kind of document that you need to prepare for your NBA accreditation. Now, POs, competencies and PIs. So in fact, I have prepared a table giving a list of competencies and associated PIs for one PO in UG Mechanical Engineering program. So this kind of a PO competency PI table can be formed for each PO, and such kind of connections are to be established for each UG program. So this is competency. This is for PO number 1. What are the competencies? What are the performance indicators I have listed? And then you have to establish a connection between CO and PO. You have a set of COs and set of POs. And now, if there is a strong correlation between any CO and any PO, you put a 3 there. If the correlation is moderate or medium, you put a 2 there. And if it is low or slight, you put a 1 here. And if there is no correlation, you put a dash there. So this kind of a course PO correlation table is to be prepared for all the courses that you offer in the program. And similarly, you have to establish the correlation between course outcomes and program specific outcomes. So, and I think this part I will keep. It is advisable to formulate assessment plans for each course in a program that brings clarity to the following. That is, alignment of assessment with the learning outcomes of the course. There should be proper alignment between the assessment method or the assessment scheme that you are following with the learning outcomes, and what is the cognitive level of learning a student is expected to achieve, and what is the assessment method that is to be adopted. Okay? So you have to have very clear assessment plans, so that through this examination, you should be able to evaluate the course outcomes and the program outcomes and program specific outcomes of that course. Now, Bloom's taxonomy, I am sure all of you have heard of Bloom's taxonomy for assessment design. It provides an important framework to design curriculum, teaching methodologies, and appropriate examination questions belonging to different cognitive levels. And it makes an attempt, or it attempts to divide learning into 3 types of domains. That is cognitive domain, that is the intellectual domain, the affective domain, and the behavioral domain. And it defines the level of performance for each domain. And now the revised Bloom's taxonomy in the cognitive domain includes thinking, knowledge, and application of knowledge. And it identifies 6 levels of competencies within the cognitive domain which are appropriate for engineering educators. Now, the Bloom's taxonomy tests the cognitive domain of the students, which include the thinking capability, the actual knowledge of the student, and an assessment of how far he is able to apply that knowledge. Now, so the levels in cognitive domain according to revised Bloom's taxonomy are listed here. He should be remembering, that is recalling from memory of previously learned material, understanding, explaining ideas or concepts, applying, using information in another familiar situation, analyzing, that is breaking information into parts to explore understanding and relationships, evaluating, that is justifying a decision or course of action, and creating, that is generating new ideas, products, or new ways of viewing things. So these are the 6 levels in cognitive domain according to Bloom's taxonomy. So creation, evaluation, analysis, application, understanding, and remembering. And Bloom's taxonomy is hierarchical, that is meaning learning at a higher level requires that skills at lower levels are already attained. So for example, if a student is able to apply something, then that means he has already understood it and he is able to remember that. And if a student is able to create something or design something, then he should remember, understand, apply, analyze, and evaluate. So it is so Bloom's taxonomy is hierarchical. Now, while asking questions as well as while designing your course outcomes, you should use, as far as possible, you should use action verbs in the design of your assessment. So through these action verbs, you should be able to test what the student is able to do, rather than just understand something or know something. Okay? You should be able to test what the student is able to do, and that is very, very important. Say, for example, I have listed a suggestive list of skills or competencies to be demonstrated at each of the Bloom's level and corresponding cues or verbs for the examination or test questions. Remember, see, list, define, tell, describe, etc. Understand, describe, explain, paraphrase, restate. So all these involve some action on the part of the student. So we should be able to test how far the student is able to do these actions. So this use of these action verbs in our course outcomes and program and course outcomes as well as examination questions will help you to evaluate the capability of the student. So evaluate and create. So create means design or formulate or build or invent or create, compose, generate. All these are action verbs which may lead to creation of something new. Assessment planning. Now, assessment in outcome-based education involves not only assessment through written examinations, but also through a variety of student works like course projects, mini or major projects, internship experience, and final year projects. So how can we assess the professional skills of a student? That can be done only through assessment in assessment of student work, like coursework, course projects, major mini projects, or internship, etc. So we have to have rubrics or definite pattern for assessing the student through all these. Not only the continuous internal evaluation and semester and examination, but also through various projects, project work, internship, etc.
Sir, maybe another 5 more minutes, sir. Time is coming up.
Yeah, okay. So basically, we can assess the learning levels, the creation, evaluation, and so for example, remembering, understanding, applying, and analyzing can be assessed through fixed hour examinations, that is continuous internal examination and semester examination, whereas the qualities of analysis, evaluation, and creation can be assessed through various projects, that is course projects, mini projects, minor projects, and capstone projects. So while adopting this framework for reforms in examinations, one should have an insight about alignment of assessment questions with the course outcomes. So what is the mapping, or what is the relation between a particular question to any of these course outcomes? Okay? And that you should define. And whether all the learning outcomes are tested. Sometimes some learning outcomes are over tested and at the expense of others. And that should not happen as far as possible. You should be able to assess all the course outcomes that you have designed for that course through these examination questions. And overall weightage in assessment should be to each of the Bloom's levels. Typically, in an examination, NBA suggests that about 40% of the questions can be at the lower cognitive levels, like remembering, understanding, and analyzing. And the rest of the questions should be to address the higher cognitive levels. So a good examination paper should have various difficulty levels to accommodate all the different capabilities of students. So I think, so it is recommended that institution or university level upper limit need to be set for lower order skills. For example, not more than 40% weightage for knowledge oriented questions, and 60% weightage should be for questions that address higher order cognitive skills or cognitive levels. So to assess the professional skills of a student, that is, out of the 12 POs, we have seen that only 5 are technical POs, and the rest 7 are professional POs. And these professional POs can be evaluated, okay, and they involve communication skills, teamwork, environmental awareness, understanding ethics, etc., and managerial skills, and these can be assessed. The higher order cognitive abilities like critical thinking, problem solving, and making informed decisions are also crucial for a graduate to succeed. And these qualities cannot be tested through a conventional examination system. And so the following are a few educational experiences that are recommended to teach and assess professional outcomes. That is the 7 professional outcomes that we have in the list of 12 POs. They can be assessed through the following. You can have course projects, open-ended experiments, project-based learning modules, MOOCs, co-curricular experiences, mini or minor projects, final year projects, and internship experiences, and e-portfolios of student works. All these, you can adopt one or more of these to evaluate the professional skills of the student. But when you use these to evaluate the student, you have to have a definite rubrics for doing that evaluation. So for example, when you are evaluating a student for the project work, now you have to test the student on different counts, like the clarity of the project, the quality of the project, how the student has executed that project, and what results he has obtained. So in that way, definite rubrics are to be clearly defined, and the evaluation is to be on all those grounds or on all those counts. And you have to have a definite pattern for that, and all these should be properly documented. Well, I think I will skip. So basically, in outcome-based education, we define program educational objectives, program outcomes, and course outcomes. And course outcomes, we make an assessment, we analyze, in every count, we have to set a target, and then test whether we are able to reach the target. And if we are not able to reach the target, we make an analysis of them and make continuous quality improvement, and that is a continuous process. So through this continuous process, you should be able to make continuous progress in your course outcomes, program outcomes, as well as program educational objectives. So in this continuous quality improvement, you say what you want. That is, you set your target and you set your objective. And then for that, do what you say. And then prove that you are able to do it. Okay? And then you make improvement upon that. And then if you have made some improvement, then you set a higher target and try to accomplish that. So that is a continuous process. So this kind of a continuous quality improvement is the basic motto of outcome-based education, and this will lead to, this will ultimately lead to very high improvement in the quality of our engineering education. Now, attainment of, how can we evaluate the attainment of COs, POs, PSOs, and PEOs? Now, assessment tools can be semester end examinations, mid-semester examinations, series tests, laboratory examinations, case studies, projects, seminars, presentations, etc. And now, as I said, yeah, I think I will stop here. Yeah. So I think as suggested by Dr. Sojan Lal, the principal, I will stop here, and I will be available. For any discussion, not only here. If you have any questions about any of these evaluations, how to set the target and how to make an evaluation and all those things, you can definitely contact me, and my email ID is available with you. So I thank you very much for your kind attention, and I thank the organizers for giving me a chance to address this gathering. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, Dr. J.K. Phillips, sir. It was really an amazing presentation. And of course, time is concerned. We know that you came to MBITS and had a one-day session on the same topic. So it's extremely difficult to conclude, maybe in 40 minutes or even 50 minutes. So I would expect that the people from all over India, in case if you want any help from J.K. Phillips, sir, he's available, and he can also be contacted. And also, you started this whole exercise with a very simple introduction, the purpose of OBE, and also OBE and OBC, curriculum difference. And you started from the vision and mission of the various programs. And again, the SMAC objectives, specific, measurable, achievable, and challenging objectives also mentioned. Short-term and long-term goals also been mentioned. 12 graduate attributes. And again, at the end of the 4-year BTech, most of the students will be able to achieve these 250 to 300 COs. And definitely this NBA handbook has to be referred in case if anyone was to go for this. And the Bloom's taxonomy also been explained in a very profound way, starting from the remembering up to the creativity, and all your examples are also very much useful. And the delivery is very good for the beginner as well as for the expert level also. And also thank you for the participants with the wonderful positive comments. which we are also getting. And along with us, our panel members, Dr. Madhugar sir and Dr. Venkat Barla sir is also today with us. In addition to this, Reverend Father Rubin, who will be introduced soon, and we will be listening from Father Rubin. Thank you once again, Professor Dr. J.K. Phillips sir, and over to Thomas for introducing our next keynote speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Sojan sir. Our next keynote speaker is Father Rubin Thottupuram. Father Rubin Thottupuram has completed his PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from MG University, MTech in Computer Science and Engineering from Dr. MGR University, Chennai in 2011, DCL Cyber Security, Government Law College, Mumbai in 2008, MCA, Computer Application from Visvesvaraya Technological University in 2002. He has published many papers in various international journals, including papers on outcome-based education attainment calculation, OBE data. Father Rubin is a Catholic priest from the Diocese of Kanjirappally. Presently, he is the head of the Department of Computer Applications, Amal Jyothi College of Engineering. Also, the Director, Academic Enterprise Solution, Amal Jyothi College of Engineering. Praise the Lord, Father, and over to you.
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, Father. Yes.
Yes. Good morning. Good morning. It's a good afternoon to all the respected teachers and the participants from different parts of India. For the last 5 sessions, we had a elaborative introduction and details on OBE from the pioneers as well as the experienced persons. Currently, I'm not in a position to go deep into all those things, but we will directly go to how these things will be easily implementable and attaining the target, everything in a computer point of view. How the data can be stored, what are the solutions which we need to follow, how cost effective we can run an institution's campus management system or the learning management system. That's my first topic. Before we go deep into that one, I will just make a poll. Since we had 5 elaborative sessions, we will just sum up with some of your opinions. Just look at the screen and select your options, please. Are you using a campus management system? Then have you ever used any MOOCs or LMS like softwares? Somebody has stopped that. Co-host, please don't stop that polling. Just press one more time. Somebody has stopped in between. Those co-hosts are not supposed to stop it, please. Just poll it once more. Five questions are there. Yes, last 30 seconds, we received around 162, 160. Yep, it's getting increased. Yes, 170. Okay, we will end the poll. And the results are shared. See that someone who was using at 60, 56% not using, only 50% ever used any learning management system. 77% used any CMS or LMS without OBE support, and 40%, around 65% deployed something in cloud. And do you like to see a virtual machine with, yeah, 93% are ready to see a launching of a Google or Moodle virtual machine in Google Cloud. Yes, that's it. We will continue with our presentation as well as the hands-on. The next one, we have, somebody is pressing, I will continue. Yeah. See, we have the OBE diagram, which we discussed for quite some time. Its link is available in the Zoom chat box. I will disable the chat for everyone right now. On the Zoom chat box, you have a PDF which is stored in an AWS Cloud OBEAS SaaS bucket. This one is a hands-on experience for you as well. All the documents which are not using always and which are to be there in the cloud, I have just created a PDF with this diagram, which is available in AWS buckets. Just click on that chat box, click that link, check whether it is available from that AWS bucket to you. This was the whole thing which we discussed for the last 5 sessions. POs. The left part comprises the structure which we implemented in one of our hybrid campus management suite along with an LMS. The program, its course, and the assessments which are to be evaluated using scoring rubrics assessment tools. In that course, all the course outcomes, the entire structure which is deployed in our academic enterprise solution, which is our own in-house developed campus management suite for the inside campus, as well as we do support some of our own colleges across Kerala. Its basic structure which are implemented in a server along with the cloud storages are seen here. The course pattern and the course outcome, its targets, how it is connected to the assessment, how the individual assessment scoring based, rubrics based assessment steps are involved, how the Bloom's taxonomy is connected with our scoring rubrics or the assessment test. Then the right side gives the mathematical model, which already Dr. Jacob Phillips already discussed regarding how to compute the attainment calculation and everything. Its summary is given on that bottom part. Synonyms are, the abbreviations are listed. I think since you have received this PDF, you can make use of it. The next one, since we had gone through quite some time, let's go for a quiz. Its link also will be available in the Zoom chat box. Or if you have got a QR code reader, you can read it from the screen itself. Else, click on that Google form. It's a Google quiz. I will just directly go to the screen. I will share you the Google screen right now. I think you have received that link and it is active right now. Yes, I received 2 responses. You can go through the 10 questions. Yes. You will be seeing only your own answers. Nobody else other than me will, since I don't get your email ID or name, only the number of participants will be the number only I will receive. Ten questions are there. I think it covers all the points, not all the points, but important things which we received from the great Dr. Shastri as well as from Dr. Bala sir and Madhugar sir till Dr. Jacob Philip. I have collected these questions from internet only, but since I had listened to these eminent persons, I tried to include their points as well. I see that out of 109, 29, 47, 32, 50, the scoring is not up to the mark right now. Anyway, you can retry it later. It's available in the net. You continue, but what is OBE stands for? Outcome-based education. Many missed it since outcome-based evaluation, encounter and experience. That third one starts with E. Sometimes we are forced to click on any word, right? But it is correct for 83%. OBE covers all the following 3 levels except, yeah, qualification of lecturers, yeah. But so many clicked on philosophy, which is wrong. OBE covers all the following 3 aspects: classroom practices and curriculum, structure, procedures, yeah. Then OBE is a shift from content-based learning system. Their concept-based learning, it has got a resemblance, that's it. Which of the following is not a characteristics of OBE? Competitive exams, right? 55%. 88 out of 55% made it correct. The main objective of OBE is to this page itself get refreshed. Yeah, set clear standards for observable, measurable outcomes. Correct. Then OBE, all activities are designed to achieve specific goals. Correct. If the students do not learn what should be done, review the improvements. Correct. Which of the following is not a learning domain in educational goals? Abilities. Psychomotor, no, it's the abilities. Common OBE instructional methods include the following except rote learning. Yeah, correct. Who is the main focus? All students. I think out of 385, we received around 192 responses. Anyway, I'm going to stop that quiz for the time being, and we will continue with our presentation as well as our discussion. I think you have completed that quiz part. Then regarding a campus data storage or retrieval mechanism, what are the cost-effective methods which we followed for the last 10 years, which somebody who is eager to have a detailed discussion, we can have it. But for the time being, I will explain what we have done. We have a hosted dedicated server, which is located there in Mumbai, and it's a co-location there in Delhi, which is a dedicated server with around 36 GB data plus 1 terabyte of secondary storage. And this dedicated server is a smart dedicated server, which is not the old type one, but smart dedicated means we will have, yeah, smart dedicated means the entire cloud infrastructure manages a dedicated server. That means we do have the capabilities of a dedicated server along with all the possibilities of a cloud one. That's our hosted dedicated server. That's for the current database as well as the current semester data we host on that dedicated smart dedicated server. Whereas the PDF which you have accessed right now is stored on a Amazon Web Service bucket, simple storage service, that is S3 bucket, Amazon Cloud Data Storage. A bucket means whenever we put the data on it, automatically its size gets increased. We need not worry about its size. We need to give only what we use. That's the speciality of any cloud-based storage. That means any files which we don't use regularly and which are of archive types, we store it in Google Cloud or AWS bucket. Currently, we integrated both, and we use S3 bucket. For the deployment or for the coding part, we have used PHP, the latest version, as well as Perl, Angular, and the database with the MySQL and MariaDB. Since all these are of open source, not a proprietary one, but we do have so many library functions available as well as the open source support, we use this one, which is of, when we compare, see, our Facebook as well as many of the big giants lay on this MySQL PHP. Then we do have large video files. Since we have integrated our campus domain with G Suite as well as with Microsoft, we can have the unlimited storage. We store that video files there, then embed that files to our learning management system. Since communication is the primary need, we give each and every student in our campus with email ID from our own domain, so that we could create an individual group within a single email. The entire students can be reached. In that AWS S3 bucket, not only the files, but we have stored all the pictures of faculty as well as the students. Since our alumni gets increased, we had already crossed our 13,000. It's reaching around 13,000 students. All the first students, first batch students pictures are already stored in that AWS buckets. Since it's of an elastic type, we need not worry about this space. Regarding that SMS, we don't have any free service. Then we need to integrate any third-party vendor SMS API with our campus management system. Then the backups, that's the important factor, the security as well as the restoring of our entire session or the entire data. How quickly we could access the data as well as how quickly we could restore it. That means we should make the entire system ready within seconds or hours or minutes. Currently, it should be within seconds. My simple suggestion to those managers or those directors, those who plan to implement a campus management system, in cloud, there are certain hypes. In a cost-effective manner, if we think, our campus is not Amazon.in or Flipkart. We don't get money, or we are not supposed to spend money unnecessarily for viewing our website or submitting our any data to our website. The cloud business tactics are entirely different. There are certain pitfalls. We should be very careful regarding if we entirely shift our on-premise data to cloud. There were certain incidents where they could not access the virtual machine in the cloud and the entire data got lost. They need to restore it from their old archives on the on-premise servers. The data to the cloud is free. The storage, it needs money, but the retrieval, it costs heavy cost. The cost part is very high in the retrieval part. That thing we need to make sure that only to certain things. Some of the things we cannot avoid. For example, our content management system and our LMS is integrated since our LMS is in a Google Cloud GCP or in a GCP area. I think it's clear for you. Yeah. In the AWS or in Google Cloud, we have our Moodle. Whereas our hosted smart dedicated server with 1 terabyte and 16 GB, 10 terabyte bandwidth in a data center near Mumbai and in Delhi. But this LMS we have hosted in Google, so that since it is a holiday time, we could shut down that virtual machine to the lowest configuration of $5.13 per month. That means a virtual one shared core with the 614 MB RAM. But if it is in the high usage time, we will go for 2 virtual CPU plus 7.5 GB memory, which may cost at most $60 per month. That means that elasticity should be done from our own part, that load balancing. If we go for automatic load balancing, in the cloud, the resources which we watermarked for our own use, we need to give money, even if we are not using it. If we have allocated some space or allocated certain resources, for example, if I have allocated 2 virtual CPU plus 7.5 GB of RAM, even if only one person logged for the last 1 month, I need to pay 58 plus data transfer cost. Else, if I reduce that GCP configuration to one shared with 614, I need to give only $6 that we need to manage. That's the cost management in this integrator or the hybrid environment. Whereas in the dedicated or the smart dedicated one, we cannot do anything since our entire data is there. Faculty and students are looking for their daily thing. For this LMS, there may be some quiz or exams, then only we need to make that configuration into the higher end. We have gone through the entire POs, PSOs and everything. If we could implement a campus management automation for our OBE, we have measured an HOD or a director. This is a one-time setup in a campus management system. The vision, mission, POs and POs entry, till program exit survey, data entry for the first time. It takes only 150 minutes. We will have a hands-on view in our system. Whereas for the teachers, where a recurring or semester-wise data entry is needed, minimum 170 minutes. Since we could reuse the COs, means we need to just update the target only. For the course plan also, if it is properly designed, the old course plan can be imported and edited for the later use. Maybe if a course is not in an affiliated system, if the syllabus is not updated to the next year, the course plan can have only a medium change. Then why we need to type the entire thing? We can just drag and drop and update for our own easiness. Then the entire exams and the question paper settings for an individual course, as well as lab elective continuous evaluation. Then the accreditation agencies normally need to check with the old evidences. That evidence keeping is an important factor for us. That files need update uploaded to our what we call the AWS S3 bucket, and it may take around 170 minutes per month or maybe within 2 months time. That's our normal data time needed for a data entry. Then what are the main modules? If somebody is planning for their own in-house management or in-house design for a system, or if you are outsourcing it also, we need an academic audit manage or module, academic calendar, which controls all the internal dates and the time. Then course and survey management system. Our students should do that course and survey before they could view their internal or assessment marks. Else it's our faculties are in trouble that they need to get the survey done from the students' part. If we can make it a mandatory with some other privileges of them, that means if they want to see the final internal marks or they want to apply for some other things, they are supposed to do it. Then in that way, we could connect that course and management or course and survey to some other modules. Then course materials management. Even if we go for an LMS, if not properly managed, the data, for example, in the normal self-financing sector, teachers are having the attrition rate is very high, as well as it's difficult to manage the entire thing, even if they are using their internal server, maybe sometimes with their own laptop or desktops. The course materials management are quite important one. We need to keep the entire data with the institution. Then the library management, the use of library books, which are needed for accreditation agency, we could directly download from our system. Then in an affiliated system, we need continuous improvement or the gap, bridging the gap between the industry as well as with the courses or the university syllabus. We need to design add-on or a minor or any type of course that individual course management system should be there. Then the OBE attainment management, the PDF which is already given to you, the right part, the rightmost part where the mathematical model is given, that should be implemented. Then the entire mappings, we will have a quick view to our. See, that screen itself should be designed in such a way. Our eyes movement, even our mouse movement should be easy for our eyes. For example, our teachers are not tech savvy or screen friendly, I say. We need to quickly not be click inside, go click. Not. It should be in a that aesthetic beauty as well as the ergonomics. Yeah, that thing within a vertical or a horizontal way, we should summarize, we should get the summarization for that entire screen. Then open book exam, paper evaluation, peers review, then the program exit survey. Once the program exit survey for our assessment, then question bank. Then regarding the faculty, we have research publications and our profile management in a campus management system. We could integrate with our public website as well, so that once we automatically gets reflected in the public website, so that nobody need to re-enter the entire data. The accreditation agency or somebody searches in the net should fetch the entire data from our public website. Then student feedback management, then student mentoring, which are very important in all these accreditation agencies. Yeah, since we collected your poll request for a Moodle live integration, I will directly go for Google Cloud. Yes, you can directly go to cloud.google.com. Cloud.google.com. Just enter cloud.google.com. It will give you an interface like this. Go to the console. Google Cloud has got a console where the entire virtual machines, compute engines, everything is located, where we could manage the entire cloud infrastructure for our institution. This is the dashboard given by Google. Since I have two compute engines, those two are the two virtual machines, AES Moodle and Aptitude. These are the two virtual machines where we have hosted our LMS, which are deployed for integrated with our cloud, our campus management system. Currently, I will just show you. Just go to Google Cloud. You need to give your credentials. Just link with any of your debit card which are available in this one. Then go to Marketplace. Since we don't have much time, I will just go with a Kubernetes or a Docker deployer from Google. Yes, we'll just search Moodle. I will go with the container from Moodle certified by Bitnami. I will select Bitnami. Now I'm going to buy. I have the Bitnami Moodle certified package from Bitnami. I'm going to launch it. See, in that virtual machine, in this package, we have all the MariaDB, Apache, and MySQL data, or the data, PHP, MyAdmin, everything is packed as a Docker image, and we are going to launch that Docker image to a virtual machine. See, this one, OBE Moodle FDP. I just give. I'm going to select a zone. Zone means where exactly my virtual machine need to be located in Google data center. In which Google data center my, see, in Asia South 1C, that is Mumbai region. Asia South 1C, that's our Mumbai region. See, currently $5.13 per month only. I'm going to create with one CPU with 3.75 GB. See, it has increased to $29. $29. Then I have only got 10 MB of standard persistent disk. I'm loving the speed, so I go for a solid state disk, SSD. The dollar got increased. It's becoming 30. 10 GB is not enough for my campus. I need 50. See, it is 35.15 per month. Currently, my entire configuration is clear for you, right? one virtual CPU with 3.75 GB RAM with a solid state drive of 50 GB space. Clear? I'm going to buy a computer. I have already decided what all things will be there in my computer. I need a Moodle installed on my virtual machine. I have selected the Docker image already. The Kubernetes, okay, you can search in the net. Kubernetes is nothing but an orchestration system for a GCP, and the Docker images are nothing but the lightweight images which can be deployed on a virtual machine. The entire orchestration done by Kubernetes. We need not worry about typing individual commands and all. This is the shortest and the simplest way to implement a Moodle. See, the operating system is Debian. Softwares already packed with that one is listed here. And I need allow HTTP traffic and HTTPS. See, in the networking part, if you go, we need to buy an individual static public IP. Anyway, I will go with the ephemeral. Ephemeral means once I stop this virtual machine, that IP won't work anymore if I restart. For the static IP, I need to pay extra, but for the demo purpose, I will go with the ephemeral one. We are deploying. It will take minimum 2, 3, maximum 2 minutes. Yes, it got started. See, in the right part, the IP address is pending. I already received the first user name and password. This is the password. I will just copy that password. User is first time user is user itself. Username is user itself. See, currently that packages are getting deployed on that virtual machine. This is the way the cloud works as well. Even if you go for any other thing, we do have, if we go for a serverless architecture only, we may not be able to directly deal with the virtual machines, but we will be dealing with microservices. That means individual functions are designed as microservices, and the entire microservices will be coming together to function for the, yes, it took only 1.5 minutes, right? I bought a Moodle within seconds. My IP is 35. See, I will just click on this one. Go. See, this one is the already deployed virtual machine in this Google Cloud. See, this one is that Moodle with username and password. I will just stop that virtual machine. So that I will show you how to make it elastic. See, aptitude JC, right? I will just stop that virtual machine. it has got a permanent IP 35.207.241 and 220. That's the IP for this website. I will just stop that virtual machine. Click here and stop it. Once it is stopped, we will edit this one. Yeah, my network has got some problem. See, the one which we have already deployed is available but not accessible right now. See, that aptitude one is the one which we deployed already got. Yeah, we'll just go directly to this one. Yeah, we will log in with the available username, user, then the password which is given by the system. See, it got around 2 minutes time to get it solved, right? This is the Moodle which we deployed currently with this IP 35.22021. Whereas my existing one, I will just edit and increase the size. See, the same interface, since it's of holiday time, I have decreased the size. I'm going to increase with the 4 virtual CPU and 15 GB RAM, or 2 CPU plus 2.75. See, if it is of thousands, then we can go for 96 virtual CPUs and 360 GB of RAM. But you need to pay. This is called the allocation screen. If you allocate the entire resources, we need to pay. Even if we are not using, we need to pay. That we need to make sure. If it is not using, just to go for a shared one or a standard one virtual CPU plus 3.75 GB of RAM. Clear? Just select this one, then save it. Save. That virtual machine gets updated. Just to restart it. That's all. That's the way manually we can do the load balancing. But it may not be acceptable for certain industry people, but for an institutional way of looking into these things, just getting down our LMS for a minute won't make any difference for our students or faculty. Then we will just start our virtual machine again. This was the one which we already created. You can access it from your own system. If you could type 35.200.211.113. Clear? Whereas this is our academic enterprise solution, the campus management system, which we integrated with an LMS called Moodle M.
Father, you may go a little faster maybe.
Okay, right. This one is the last part. See, we have integrated that LMS to that campus management system so that the faculty which are giving assessments in the individual course, the entire data or its assessment or graded data can be exported from this LMS to the campus management system. In the next part, how the course outcomes can be entered. Course outcome. See, on the same screen, course outcome 1 and its text, its target, and its survey question. These 3 things can be edited on the same screen. When the entire syllabus is not changed, these things can be reused for the next year as well. For a director, vision, mission, everything can be entered in such a way that we never retype anything for the next time. I think that part is clear. Then we will continue with the last part. What are the main advantages of Am I audible, sir?
Yes, very much. Yes. Father, you can go a little faster because time is coming up.
Okay, okay. I think I have got some problem with the, okay, stop sharing. Yeah. See, what are the main advantages of a system for the campus management as well as the learning management? We need to collect the entire data and we need to keep it. Just before 6 months before the evaluation, we cannot create the entire data. The quality is not made on in a single day, but it should be an evolution. Quality is evolved, so that we need to keep the entire data in the institutional as well as with the department, so that the calculation as well as the dissemination of data to the accreditation agency can be made easy. What are benefits? We shall have an automate the administrative as well as a paperless administration, cost-effective communication as well as digital payment. Currently, we should support with video classrooms as well. That's all from my part. If any questions are there, we can discuss. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Father. And it's really an amazing presentation with a real-time application. We are so confident to take everything online. And again, the cost management, economical time investment for each and every part of this, taking to the cloud.google.com, the live Moodle and reusability of the previous data and all we will explain. And due to time constraints, and thank you very much, it's really an amazing presentation. Over to Thomas for the questions.
Thank you, Sojan sir. So there are a couple of questions being posted in the chat box. I'll ask the questions in the order in which it is getting posted. The first question is, what are the steps to be taken to strengthen the program outcomes in context with lifelong learning? I'll repeat the question. What are the steps to be taken to strengthen the POs in context to lifelong learning?
Madhugar sir. Please unmute, sir. Madhugar, sir, please unmute. Post, yeah, you're unmuted.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
See, basically, it is a continuous process. They said they showed the diagram. No, in his the presentation, he showed you have to continuously keep on improving. That is the only thing. It's a continuous improvement process. There is nothing like a one-step forward process. This is a continuous improvement process. That is it. It's like the diagram was shown. No, that is the process. Keep on improving. That is it.
Okay, Thomas.
And the second question, mention some practices to handle advanced learners and slow learners, and how to classify advanced learners and slow learners. The question is open to the panel, sir.
Yeah, Madhugar, sir, I think you have wide experience. Go ahead, sir.
See, this area of advanced learners, slow learners has been quite controversial, I'll tell you, to be honest. Because there is a viewpoint that you shouldn't be classifying people as low learners and advanced learners. The way we look at it is, as far as I could see, you have to see when they enter a class, when they come into it, you know what is the amount of knowledge they have, or what is that, and if from that you just classify them as advanced or slow learners and support them through additional classes or expert advice, or giving them some other support from outside the institution. It is like that. There is no, clearly it is not defined in a way that you should do, he is an advanced learner, he is a slow learner, and it can happen differently. Some may be an advanced learner in a physics area and slow learner in English area. So this is quite a complex issue. And I think locally you have to decide these things, because there is no national benchmark for any of these things.
Okay, Thomas.
For the next question, after all the tremendous effort taken by the university to bridge the gap between industry and academics, why students are still required to study circuits which are more than 25 years old? Example, electrical students still study the architecture of 8051, which is a 29-year-old processor.
I don't know, since I'm not an electronics person, I can tell you, I say I'm a mechanical engineer. In fact, I've forgotten that also. Long time, I'm out of touch with this. See, basics cannot change. See, it is an evolutionary process. The basics will never change. The basics remains. You have to know the basics. In fact, yesterday, Professor Acharya said, you directly go, when I said you directly go to the application part of OBE, he said, no, you have to know the evolution of this process. So I think nothing can be taught directly without engineering drawing, even though you may not directly go into the computer part of it. You have to know.
And again, supplementing to that, maybe I think the 8085 processor, 8086 processor, those days 80286, 386, 486, till current generation, that history gives a lot of information and how it was happened and all this. I strongly agree with the points Madhukar sir also said about this. And one should learn then, I mean, maybe the amount of time investment may be different, but you should know from the very fundamental. Over to Thomas.
So the next question is from Dr. Binod Kumar Singh. The question is, sir, every university is established by law, by state legislature or parliament. How can you say that IIT or IISc, etc. does not require NBA or NAC accreditation?
I think there is a confusion in this. There is nothing that says that IISc and IITs don't need accreditation. In fact, IISc has got accreditation. In fact, I was part of that cycle. IISc has got accreditation. I think that is not, they have not come for accreditation is a different issue, but IISc has recently got accreditation by NAC.
Thank you, sir. That's an additional information just in case if anybody doesn't know about that. Yeah. Thank you. Very good. Thomas.
So there are a few more questions left. I'll ask in the order itself which is posted. How to inculcate PO8, that is ethics in students? I'll repeat the question. Okay, sir.
See, all these things you have to, there are 2-3 ways of learning this. One is look at other institutions, how they are doing it. Because you have to also give some evidence when it goes into an accreditation process. How you do it and how is it being recorded? This is the official part. When I'm talking at the lower level skills they talk about. You have to give, if it is part of an accreditation process, you have to give evidence. They will say you conducted some seminar on ethics, somebody spoke, you got a spiritual leader talking about it, etc. The evidence-based thinking. The other thing, the higher order is, they said, in fact, I could take this and quote Professor Abdul Kalam when he said ethics can be shown by only 2 sets of people, your teacher and your parents. They can only teach you ethics. Nobody else. So it comes from your background, your family, your teachers, etc. So if you say this, no accrediting agency will agree. They will have to, you have to show some ethics classes and all that. So there are 2 levels. One is the accreditation for principles of accreditation is one pattern. And the longer area of ethics, you as an institution should demonstrate ethics.
Okay. And we will take 2 more questions, Thomas, due to time constraints.
And the next question is, sir, do you think that every department of the college should have vision and mission of their own, or if the vision and mission of the college itself is enough?
See, vision and mission is a concept which you have to accept. I have my own doubts on vision and mission concept itself. But if you say for an accrediting agency, I don't care, they will not agree to it. Vision and mission, vision is a long-term one and mission drives out of it. There's a lot of definitional issues on vision and mission in itself. But since you are in a systematic setup, you need to have that And now when you say program, assessment program, this one and all that, NBA will say you have to define it for the departments also. So that alignment, then the final issue is alignment. That the institutional vision and mission should align with your department vision and mission. See, these things are very easy to say. To construct it takes a lot of time. Lot of efforts are need to construct this. In fact, there are many, in fact, Birla 3M at one point said, we don't believe in all. So that's a different aspect. But since you have to go through an accreditation process, I think you have to work it out. That is the ground reality. And NAC also says what is vision and mission. Institutional vision. They are not asking department at this point in time. But it's a matter of time before you have that question. It is not because now NBA asks, but as you will come to that. That is how the whole structure is done. Your PO objectives 5 years later, whether he has achieved it is all very difficult to even bring it into the system. But that's the way international thinking is going on. You'll fall into it if you're part of Washington Accord and all that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good.
Sir, Ms. Nanda VS have raised her hand.
I would like to take any questions. Nanda VS, online questions. Please unmute. Yeah, you can ask the question, please.
My question is, when we write action plan for the current academic year for the not attainable COs, okay, and whether the action plan is implemented for the old students or next year students, because next year they will be moving to next second year where we are not going to conduct the classes for them. So what about the action plan for written where it should be, implemented? Action plan, action plan. When you write action plan for not attained COs in CIE, continuous internal evaluation. After SEM and exam, SBT we write, no sir?
Sir, is it clear, sir?
No, I'm not able to get the question. What it is, it's a lot of breaking.
But can you repeat the question because it was not much audible? Once again, please. Summarize.
Okay, sir. My question is, action plan we write for the current academic year, okay? For SBT, assignment exam, when we complete that exam, the students will pass out with the exam. Action plan, you may be knowing that in OBE it comes. We write that has to be implemented to those students only, or next coming students, next newly joining students.
Yeah, I can answer how we have done it.
Okay, Venkat Barla, sir. Okay, take it.
Yeah, if any program objectives are not met, if any course objectives are not met, and some students have not been able to attain the objectives, it is necessary for the department to drop a plan for the other students without disturbing the mainstream. Without disturbing the mainstream, we used to conduct the evening special classes for them, and sometimes we go to the hostel, sometimes in the extended hours itself, so that the special plan is made and implemented, so that the others are also, by next semester, they will catch up. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think now we'll go for the concluding round of sessions.
Okay.
And Dr. Venkat Barla, sir, over for your final remarks, sir.
Thank you, sir. It's been a wonderful experience today also. Last 3 days and today also has been a great experience to spend time with the learned people around, and Dr. Madhukar sir, especially today, Director Sir Ramana Rao, Dr. Rubin, Dr. Jacob have been fantastic, along with the earlier day 1 and day 2 speakers as well. It's been a life-changing experience for me. And today particularly, I would like to just take 30 seconds to answer question 1. That is a lifelong learning. Now, I was an engineering student. I went to IIM Ahmedabad and I have learned economics. Today I teach economics. I teach economics without any preparation, without any slides, nothing. The whole book of microeconomics and macroeconomics I teach because I am so much intoxicated into the subject by Dr. C. Rangarajan, the learned great economist and planning commission chairman and governor of Andhra and things. So it all depends on how you inspire a student. When you are a student, you are imbibing a lot of things, but everything do not excite you. There are certain things that excite you. We have studied 42 courses, but economics has been my first love because the sir had inspired me. Similarly, depending on how a faculty would inspire a student would develop interest, love, passion for that subject, and it becomes a lifelong learning. Today also, if an article comes on economics, I would not have breakfast without reading that article. That is my love for economics. And each student, I had the love for pyrometallurgy when I studied my engineering. So it all depends on how teachers inspire the students about core subjects. Now the question number 2 was about the classification of students. At Sanskrit Engineering College, Puttaparthi, what I did was, I've classified the students based on marks. Semester marks, internal assessment marks, and so on, and arranged them in descending order. And the top student and the bottom student are buddy together. It's a buddy system. So that they learn together, and the bottom student would, over a period of time, upgrade himself or herself. So there is no other way we can classify the students on the subjects except the marks, because marks are coming from their mind. That is the only way in the long term which can be reliable basis for classifying the students. So that is our experience. May not be valid for other institutions. Other institutions may find their own ways. And the other question is, why I should learn the old subjects, whether it is Newton's laws or it is Laplace transform or mass transfer or heat transfer. You are learning to develop a technical mind. Laplace transform you may not use in daily life, daily execution of your jobs, but Laplace transform has given you a bent of mind in order to look at things more minutely, logical flow of events one after the other, and the final theorem, final derivation. So all the engineering subjects particularly are aimed at creating technical minds. It could be 100 years old or 50 years old. Otherwise what happens is that, if it is currently only I am seeing IT and software and Internet of Things now, so should we make only that syllabus? No, thermodynamics is very important. Physics is very important. Chemistry is very important. Theory of light is very important. They all will develop your mind, and the more you study them, because the science has been developed last so many 500 years and so on, even earlier also, the more you study them, more you develop a technical mind which will be useful for you in your post-academic working life. Some are good engineers, some are not so good engineers. Why? They're good engineers because they have developed a technical mind. It is not that they remember what they have read in their engineering classes, but there is a residual component which is remained, because of which you are a great engineer. Because somebody has defined education as, education is something which remains in you after you forget everything which you have learned. There is something which remains in you. That is a technical bent of mind which we prepare students in engineering colleges. That is the reason you must study the classical subjects or theorems. Now the one question about vision and mission. In management institutes like IIM, for example, we look at vision as a philosophy. It is not a long-term goal. and that mission is a short-term goal. No, it is not a long-term achievement versus short-term achievement. At least a managerial outlook I'm giving. Vision is a philosophy. Space exploration is the vision of ISRO or NASA. You cannot see it. It's like a god. You cannot see it. You cannot figure it. You cannot say that I have achieved it. There is nothing like achieving a vision. Vision is a philosophy, an ongoing thing, and a direction in which your business must move. Mission is a time-bound achievement. By 2020, India would like to launch a man on the moon. A specific mission. This is a mission. By the time you must achieve that. So time-bound achievements are missions. Direction in which you move is a vision. A lot of colleges are writing vision and mission in different English, and they both mean the same. I think it is a time that we distinguish both. And one more, this thing I would leave my observations. I don't take much time. In this entire 3-day seminar, we seem to be concluding that the OBE or accreditations is a game of data management. I beg to differ, because it is not about data management. It is about teaching and learning. It is about really doing research, publishing papers. It is like MOUs with the industry. It is like the research grants, public perception. There are so many things which you need to do. It is not that an external consultant or an administrative officer has a good CMS system, create a good CMS system, it will take care of itself. Some statistical numbers are created in a 500-page self-study report. Is no. This is absolutely, we seem to be moving in a different direction. I need to clarify this. It is the way you live, all the parameters given by NAC and NBA and NIR. You need to live that. When you live, data generates, and it's a consequence. If you study well, you write examination and you get A grade. So these two are different. So UGC wants the enlivenment. You must live those parameters. That is their intention. Otherwise, UGC, if it is a statistical game, why UGC must create NBA, must create NIRF, and do all this jhamela? It is not required. It is not a statistical game. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly let us, data is a consequence of doing a good work, and our purpose is to do the good work. That is our objective. Our objective is not data management. Okay. So that is the last observation I want to make. And IITs and IIMs are statutory bodies. They are not under UGC. They are not regulated by UGC. IIM is created by a separate statute in the parliament. IITs are created by a separate statute in the parliament. They may go for accreditation or any other accreditation. They are autonomous bodies. They are created by a separate act of parliament. So these are my observations, and I really enjoyed being with you all. And the teaching learning process must be a two-way process. All the OBEs, it seems that today's discussion or yesterday's discussion seems to me that the teacher or the institution has to drive it top down. Can it be bottom up also? The OBE is a two-way process. Student must be involved. He must be the owner of the activity. He is the owner of the activity. So let us drive OBE in a bottom-up way also, instead of visualizing this as a top-down thing and create a system, create a matrix, and then give it out, and he will consume like a consumer, or fills like an empty bottle. No, it is not. So these are some observations, but I think on the whole, we have done a wonderful job. Thanks for all the participants.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for all the people.
Thank you.
And everything. I'm happy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And I will go to Dr. Madhugar, sir, for a 2 minutes briefing outlining, sir.
I think it has been, in fact, a very interesting uh, sessions right from last 3 days. As Professor Bala said, it is about quality. That, in fact, we say from the beginning. It is about the quality framework. You have to approach the whole issue as a quality framework or what you derive from it, and it is not about accreditation assessment. That, I think, has been running from a long time. But in situations like that, data management becomes important because these are all regulatory mechanisms. You cannot separate this out in a very categorical manner. There is a lot of wedging that happens in this. You have to do something to meet this because the law of the land. So we will not get into that area, but points are very well taken. You have to have framework of quality. But today's last presentation by Father was very interesting to me. See, in this country now, there is hundreds and hundreds of people who will come to you to give their software. And many institutions, I think, will have problems with this because they are going to market it. And this insight he gave is important because, in fact, I thought I should go to their college with both of in your college and take some tips from that. So that at least I will say, don't get into this. Otherwise, you will lose a lot of money. See, it's an important factor. I am very happy that he went into it in a detailed manner with all the web and all that. See, most of the times what happens at the ground level, we will not know the undercurrents of all this. So I think it's a very good one. And I think it's the duty of educationists as such to see that no educational institution will get into, it's not possible, will not get into this kind of arrangements with so many of the suppliers who are there. In fact, every day there are so many webinars going on with all these, what is that, they are going to make online management, LMS, everything, accreditation, assessment. In fact, yesterday I was with one with this AWS from Delhi, Paul. They were talking about it. I'm not particular about this, but I think we should build an internal mechanism, internal guiding mechanism for all this new changes that are going to happen, so that institutions are benefited. It is a larger framework. Thank you very much, sir. Thanks for a great opportunity. In fact, I learned from each one of them, Barla Zab, Shastri Zab, and others. There are a lot of gray areas. People will have different point of views. That is finally the purpose of all these webinars, etc. We appreciate there is going to be differences. There is no way you can bring uniformity, and that's why I always say nature is diverse. So it will be standardization will help to some extent. Afterwards, you cannot continue further.
Yes.
So with that, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Hope we all come together for the betterment of higher education in the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And it's really extremely nice to have you, sir. And as Madhugar sir said, that now Father Rubin has given his exceptional presentation and given a very much confidence. I'm sure that hundreds of colleges will definitely come to Father Rubin for taking the advice as well as setting, because he said that you need only $6 to keep it at lower, and at the highest level you need $100. So I think over to Father Rubin for your maybe 2 minutes, we can conclude.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your great words. And anyway, for the last 8 years, I was working on the structure which needed for a smooth management of the entire system. Since I'm a Catholic priest, this one is the third college which I work inside my own area. The entire data management system, when it comes for an institution, that's the biggest headache That's why I invested my most of the time for the research in that data management system. Dr. Madhugar sir, that was my aim. I think that paid the result. That's it. We are giving it as a service in the net so that other colleges also can make use of it in a cost-effective way. And the entire 3-day session from the pioneers till the virtual machines, we could cover the entire OBE, how the structure as well as the implementation part we could cover. And I think we had around 500 participants from around different states. Thank you for your great cooperation. And I think some of the videos we need to watch again from Dr. Shastri till Dr. Bala and Dr. Madhugar. Thank you.
And also to Father also. It will be extended to Father too. And again, in addition to these 500 participants in this Zoom, we are also having the extended participants in the Facebook also. That is just for others' information also. And over to Professor Leena, teacher, our Dean of Academics, for your concluding remarks. Sir, anything else, Barla sir?
Jacob gave a minute review of his experiences.
Who is that? Sir is not here now.
Okay.
So he took the permission and he left it for a different reason. Sir.
Leena ma'am, please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So we are coming to the end of the FTP on OBE. Outcomes are the end target of OBE. Hope we achieved the outcome of our FTP. As we all know, nowadays many institutions are undergoing the process of accreditation either by NPA or NAC or preparing for it. I'm sure that today's both sessions will be very useful for them. Let me come to the concluding part. This is the second webinar we are conducting in association with Amal College of Engineering. Let me thank our panel lead, Dr. P. Sojan Lal, Principal of MBITS, and Dr. Isadvi Lakaparambil, Principal AJC, for their immense support. We have well-experienced academicians as our resource persons for all these 3 days with us. Dr. Shastri, Dr. V. Barla, Dr. Madhugar, Dr. Ramana Rao, Dr. Jacob Philip, and Reverend Father Jubin. Thank you all for very much. Thank you very much for all for the wonderful presentation and interaction. We express our gratitude to the conveners, Professor M.B. Elias, HOD EEE Department MBITS, Reverend Father Rubin, AJCE, and coordinators Basil Kumar, Jimson Varghese MBITS, Dr. Jubi Matthew, AJCE, and the dedicated team of EEE Department MBITS and Jendi Benjamin, AJCE. All of you have done a good job. Very special thanks to the supporting team, Chingu Salman and Eldos Varghese MBITS and Sebin Sebastian, AJCE. Your sincere efforts are remarkable and helped for the smooth conduct of this webinar. Thank you all once again.
Thank you all. It was really a wonderful session. And we'd like to announce that we'll be coming back with the next webinar with the ISRO, Vikram Sarabhai Space Center ISRO, jointly with the Kerala Startup Mission, which will be from 9th of August for a 3-day program starting at 11 o'clock. And Dr. S. Somanath, the distinguished scientist and Director of Vikram Sarabhai Space Center will be there. Mr. Santosh Kurup, CEO, ICT Academy of Kerala. Ms. Shruti Gaddam, Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge, Hyderabad. Mr. John Matthew, co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of Refy Technologies, Cochin. Along with the panel members, myself and Mahesh KM, Jinder Matthew of MBITS will also be there. And also we are very pleased to inform you that the session will be inaugurated by the great entrepreneur, Mr. CJ George, the Managing Director of Jyothi BNB Paribas. He has started his business with a very humble beginning, having more than 600 branches across India and various parts of the world also. So that will be another opportunity which will be immediately coming out. And again, we will be doing much of these things. And thank you very much for all Amal Jyothi, as well as MBITS Engineering College team together, as well as all the participants from various parts of this country. Thank you. It's a really wonderful experience even for us. We learned all of the things, and our panel members, special invitees, everyone. Thank you. And we are grateful for you. Thank you very much and have a great day. Bye. Logging off. See you then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.